Hello, it's Ron and Kimberly.
And we are joining you today to share with you, we're back from the cruise, and we're going to share with you the next session of How to Think Like Leonardo da Vinci.
7 Steps to Genius Every Day.
So back to the awesomeness that was the maestro, Leonardo da Vinci. And we're starting in a whole new section. So we finished perfectly before the cruise, and starting in a whole new section called Sfumato.
I think that's how you say it.
I'm not sure. I'm not Italian, but
What that means is a willingness to embrace ambiguity, paradox, and uncertainty. And literally, it's going up in smoke.
Yeah, the translation is turned into mist, or going up in smoke, or simply smoked. And art critics, they use this term to describe that haziness. And Leonardo, he was brilliant at doing this, but especially in his later years. But that haziness that would surround his painting and make one object seem to come out of another object.
Almost like lifelike.
And really add to the ambiguity of his paintings and his art. And something that I found very interesting, first of all, Leonardo had a very good sense of humor. He was very comical and actually did comedy type stuff as well. But one thing that he did one time is, well, he loved painting and drawing people that were very they contrasted. So like a really beautiful person next to someone who maybe had some deformities or kind of grotesqueness or maybe a little bit homely, that kind of stuff. So he would draw them or paint them side by side. So you could see the differences in beauty and what makes someone beautiful. I'm trying to be politically correct and nice here, but he actually threw a dinner party, right? Mm-hmm. Tell him about the dinner party.
So basically what he did is he got everybody drunk, essentially.
Well, he invited the most grotesque-looking people he could find from the streets of which town he was in at the time. Right.
And he just invited them. He gave them drink, alcohol, and from that, when you're inebriated, you're kind of like less inhibited. Yeah,
and he told joke after joke, so they were in hysterical laughter. So of course, all your features are more pronounced when you're let loose and you're just laughing and
you don't really care.
No cares or no worries.
Who says what or anything like that. You're just like kind of like in that state.
Mm-hmm. And after the party, he actually stayed up all night drawing the sketches of their faces and those grotesque, contorted features that were so prominent in their gaiety and their laughter. So it was just interesting that he would think to do that. And he studied the human forms, all different aspects of it.
He was always thinking about different ways that you could portray the human body. And, you a lot of things take things that are, maybe not so beautiful and make them more beautiful.
Right. And he was also infatuated, if you will, with the infinity sign and knots and how things interconnect and interlink. And interesting that's something that he did. Now, there's some art critics, who say that even his painting of the Mona Lisa was actually a self-portrait of himself of what he felt he would be as a woman. So they've held up a side-by-side picture of his actual painting or drawing of himself.
See that there?
And the Mona Lisa. So there's definitely some definite proportion-wise facial features and things that were in proportion. So whether she was a person that he drew or a soul portrait of himself.
Pretty amazing, actually. Drawing a self-portrait is usually one of the more difficult things to do, actually, and he was very, very good at that.
Right. So I guess only the maestro will know until hopefully we meet him one day in another time. So as change accelerates, one thing that it makes very clear here is that geniuses like Leonardo da Vinci have a high tolerance for uncertainty. We live in a world that's rapidly changing, and poise in the face of paradox is a key not only to effectiveness but to sanity in a rapidly changing world. Nothing's certain today, is it?
Nope. Everything is changing, always changing.
So we have to embrace the unknown, embrace the ambiguity, the mistiness that surrounds our lives around us, and just go with the flow.
Make the best of what we have.
They actually have a little self-assessment, like they do in several of the sections. And we're going to read through these and just kind of rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. 10 being that the level of like a Taoist priest or Leonardo himself, and 1, and just see what you can do to get yourself a little bit higher on the scale. Think of things that you can do to embrace the unknown, because one thing it touches on as well is that sometimes the unknown brings anxiety, right? Sometimes we get that knot in our stomach when we don't know what's going to happen. We're waiting to hear, did I get accepted to college? Am I going to get that job? Is this person going to join my team? That ambiguity can sometimes cause anxiety. So
the crazy thing is that most of the things that we worry about, we spend time thinking about, worry about, never happen. They never happen.
Or the things that we want to happen do happen.
Exactly. You get what you focus on.
Right.
What you think about, you bring about.
Exactly. Some words for thought. So here's the self-assessment. Again, rate yourself on 1 to 10. So
first one, I am comfortable with ambiguity.
I am attuned to the rhythms of my intuition.
I thrive with change.
I see the humor in everyday life.
I have a tendency to jump to conclusion.
I enjoy riddles, puzzles, and puns, which Leonardo did.
Yeah. I usually know when I am feeling anxious.
I spend sufficient time on my own.
I trust my gut.
I can comfortably hold contradictory ideas in my mind.
I delight in paradox and am sensitive to irony.
I appreciate the importance of conflict in inspiring creativity. So there's the self-assessment. Now, think for yourself, too, especially as parents. This is our homeschool session that we do with our kids. And I didn't have them come in on this one because it's a little bit above them. But is it?
More depth.
We brought this down to their level to realize that they're not going to know everything in life. Life's not certain. Life's not written in a book that you can, you don't know. You have to roll with the punches. So, as you're reading, this is a topic that came across one of our recent hangouts, and it was how do you make personal development on the level a child can understand? Mm-hmm. And we do that every day in our lessons, and sometimes it's one paragraph at a time.
Right.
Some sections take a little bit longer. Sometimes we do have to stop and explain things, or we do exercises to help them understand how this applies to them. So do that with your children. Do that with, if you're a caregiver, with those around you. Help them understand the importance of developing these leadership skills for themselves. And another great way that we do that is with our homeschool hangouts, where we actually share information. We had one this morning where we actually shared how to keep our kids on task. And there was an awesome panel of other homeschooling moms that were on there with us, and they gave ideas of how things they do. We all do things a little bit different. So check out that homeschool hangout. It's wakeuphomeschoolparents.com.
And also the new group that we just started, which is at group.wakeuphomeschoolparents.com. It's a Facebook group. You're welcome to come in there and post your comments, maybe some things that you would like us to address in our weekly hangouts. Exactly, whether it's, wanting to find out more about homeschooling or the different types of homeschooling or how we do it. We've been doing this for 8 years, so we're familiar. We've probably got a lot of the questions.
We have a few ninja tips and tricks up our sleeve about keeping kids on task. So.
Yep, absolutely. So just remember, embrace the unknown. Make the best of, whatever there is around you. And remember, when you wake up
unstoppable.